are recording. But what I really think that will be fun to talk about is not only our Power 5 list, but I think we should also maybe throw in somebody who you might think might jump up into and get into that top 5. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like that.
Good.
Okay. We can certainly throw in a little something like that. But anyway, welcome. We are the Sports Page Pundits, and we are here today to talk a little NBA basketball as we transition away from the NFL season's in the books. So
Yeah.
it's time to move on to my favorite sport, which is basketball. A huge basketball fan, love pro and college. But today we are just going to be talking a little bit about college football. So, college basketball. I mean, professional basketball. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Anyway,
Dubai got his brain on.
yeah, Dubai. I was out of the country, so I'm still jet lagged, a little tired here. But anyway,
good trip.
let's go around the horn and just see what everybody's got today. What do you got, Sooner? How are you doing today?
Good, man. I'm glad you had a good trip, and me and man, we tried to hold down the fort last week. I think we did all right, but
Yeah,
so
did
it
real
was a
good.
good time, and
Did real
we'll
good.
discuss
What
that.
about
That was
you,
a good,
Kulik? What do you got going on this week?
Yeah, well, busy week. The Denver Nuggets are doing all right. The Nebraska Cornhuskers college men's basketball team still cannot win on the road very often, but including today, it's lost to Buckeyes of Ohio State, so that was not fun. But here we are.
No worries. Well, like I said, we're going to get into a little bit of the NBA today. We're going to have a show all about the power rankings. And I thought it'd be a good time to do that as we're getting close to the final stretch here, getting into a playoff season another couple of weeks as teams are kind of scrambling after the All-Star game and all of the fun and games of that and the final trade deadline there. Well, the teams are getting back into what it is that they do, playing basketball, and we'll just see what kind of stuff has gone on, and we'll start with the power rankings. So why don't you go ahead and start with me? I'll be the first because I think I'm the most controversial in this whole thing. I don't know why it's controversial, but the bottom line is that I just have a different take than you guys. I have the best take. That's the way it goes.
Maybe you do.
We'll go ahead and throw up my list there, Kellen. Let me show you what I think is the deal. All right, here we go. My top 5. Let's start from the bottom. As much as I hate the Clippers, I do think they are the number 5 team in the league right now. They've got a little bit of a big three. And I think that they've got enough power. Actually, I think they're going to go far in the playoffs this year. They might have even upset a couple of folks. Denver, I don't believe, is as good as they've been the last couple of years. I think there's a lot of other competition. That's a whole heck of a lot better. That's why I think right now they are in the 4 spot. It's the Timberwolves, man. I'm telling you, the Timberwolves are going to be tough. They're going to be real tough as they go ahead. And of course, my surprise, I think both of you guys will be surprised at my love for Oklahoma City. I just think that they are young, they are fun, and they are going to get it done this year in the NBA. And of course, I think on the top of everybody's list is probably the Boston Celtics. Boston is just the cream of the crop at this moment, but that doesn't mean they're going to get away with the championship this year. I think that they are vulnerable in some spots. But for the most part, the whole season long, they have shown their true colors, and they have been the number 1 team, I think, all year long, ever since the beginning, ever since the tip off of the season. I think they've been the number 1 team. So that's my list. Who's next? Kellen, you next?
Yeah. So here is my top 5. And you know what? I'll do the same thing as you did, Keemer. I will start from the bottom. At number 5, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks. They're still a great team. They're not top by any means this season. Top 2, top 3 teams in my opinion, but they are still elite and they're still up there. So I think they're going to continue that on. Number 4, I've got Oklahoma City Thunder. I think OKC is a good team, and it's no surprise that they're also in the top 5 at number 4 there. So, and then at number 3, only number 3 on paper, not in my heart, are the Denver Nuggets.
Uh-huh.
So Denver Nuggets, strong team. My opinion, we'll talk about this in another show, but I do believe Jokic is going to get another MVP this season, and they're just lighting it up. A couple weeks ago they showed the Lakers who they are again, and I love that. They've had a couple losing streaks of 3. I think that's only like the second time this season or something. But I think they're going to rebound. They're good, and they'll stay that way. Minnesota Timberwolves, I have at number 2. I think they're obviously showing some stuff out there right now, and I think they'll do just fine heading on out. Number 1, Boston Celtics. I got to stay the same. I just think, even though that I think the Western Conference has the better overall division conference. You can't deny Boston Celtics are the top in the East and also top in the NBA.
Awesome. Looks good. All right, why don't you go ahead and throw up Sooners and see where he's at?
Well, guys, good to be back. You can see my list. We didn't plan it, but me and Man's list ends up being the same. I promise this was not planned. The Bucks, I've got them at 5. I think they kind of gave Griffin a raw deal. They were playing real well, and they not exactly caught fire with Doc Rivers, but we'll see how that goes. But they still have a lot of good players. I do think that that Holiday was a key component, and not having him, that's maybe the flow has been a little bit off. But when you have the Greek Freak, he's just so good. I still think they're definitely a possibility to make a run. Oklahoma City, I put them at 4. They've a little surprising to me. I didn't think they were that good yet, but they've blossomed, and I think Holmgren is playing better than anticipated. That year off, I think, allowed him to strengthen up, and he doesn't have to be the star, which allows him to kind of work into it with having the elite player they have, the MVP candidate. I can't remember his name, but anyway, they're very good this year. But I'm not sold on. But at this time, I've got Denver 3 and Minnesota 2. I think I'm still not sold that Oklahoma City or Minnesota can get Denver in 7 games. I think right now they're both really close playing, but in a 7-game series, I don't think I would take either one of them. I just kind of like the experience of Denver. Both are really, all the 3 of those are very good teams that could make a run. But I still kind of like Denver. Then my whole life I've been a Boston fan, a Maverick fan, and I'll cheer a little bit for the Thunder, so I kind of like them, and so I'm happy the way that the Celtics have. I mean, their starters are good, and then some of these veterans off the bench, they're pretty tough. I mean, with Porzingis is, you can trade him around, but whatever it is, you're still going to get 20 points and about 8 rebounds and a few assists, and he's like the 3rd or 4th option on that team. So that's an amazing option. And when Holiday is kind of you've got Tatum and Brown and Porzingis, when Holiday's like your 4th, that's incredible. And then when they've got guys like Horford off the bench, so I like Boston's chance to finally get another one. I think they have a very good chance this year, and I'm wearing my Celtic hat from the last time when they won it. I've got Doc Rivers signed it. I've got Big Baby Davis, and I got Rondo. I know I used to work with a guy that he grew up with Doc Rivers, so I didn't know if he was going to do it. He always gets to sit behind Doc's team, so when they come to Dallas, so if Milwaukee hadn't come yet, I'm sure he'll be there. But he was able to get this for me because he knows Doc pretty well. So.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, Boston comes to Dallas tomorrow night, so maybe he'll be sitting behind the bench tomorrow night. But
Well, no, it's no. He only gets the games that the team's doc chooses, doc coaches. So if
oh,
the winner, so it's like when the Bucks
I hear
like
you. I got
or
you.
like the
Okay, so
Clippers or the Celtics, that's who he always gets to sit
that's
behind the
back in the
benches.
day. So it would be Milwaukee now.
Yeah,
But
Milwaukee. Yeah. So we'll
yeah.
see. I don't know if they come to Dallas or not, but if
Mhm.
they do, I bet Michael. And his name is Michael Jordan, and he's from Chicago. He's going up there, so it's pretty funny.
He's not Michael Jeffrey Jordan, though.
No, nope, he's not.
All right, guys. So tell me, it looks like everybody has Boston at number one, and I think that's a good consensus. I think that that's the right spot for Boston at this point in time. I heard Suna mention the fact that he thinks that Boston is going to go all the way. Do you feel that way, Kellen?
They had a poor showing in the playoffs in the late run last season. I don't see them repeating that, and I do think that they will go the distance. However, I do think that any of these top five Western Conference teams could take on Boston.
Hmm. I agree with you. I see them going the distance in the East. Um, it's a little bit of a easier trek to get through the East than it is to get through the West. So maybe
Agreed.
they arrive at the finals a little bit more, a little less beat up than whoever comes out of the West. But you know, I got to tell you, I see this OKC team as a team that can go all the way this year. I think I agree with Sooner. They're young. They've got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who is an MVP choice at the moment, one of the top 5 MVP choices at the moment. They've got Chet, like you were saying. They've got some pieces. They've got some pieces, and they're young. Sometimes a young team like that doesn't. Everybody talks about experience. I'm not a big experience kind of guy. These guys have been playing in winner take all games their whole lives. This isn't going to be new to them. Granted, it's the NBA Finals, and they're playing Boston, the vaunted team out of the East, and all of that. But I just think they're too young to even to even understand all of that. And sometimes that's an advantage. I don't think they'll be afraid. I think they're young. I think they're going to come in pretty cocky, and I think they're going to do the job. But they still have to get through Denver. There's a couple of cities they're going to have to get through along the way. And if they do make it through those cities, I think they have a real shot at winning the whole thing over Boston.
But you have to go to Boston, and that is a very hard place to play. And I don't know, they have a lot of veterans that are still not that old, but they just played for so long.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'd be very hard. And again, I don't. I think Oklahoma City could maybe get to the finals, but I don't think I kind of still like both. If I had to say today, it's Denver and Boston for the championship.
Hmm.
I just think
I
Boston
think
has too much talent. So.
I think one thing that could favor the Celtics if they make it to the NBA final. One thing that can benefit them is they may have home court.
Oh, they will probably.
Yeah, and I think that's going to definitely help them out if they make it all the way.
That's
Hmm.
what I'm saying. You got to go to Boston and win, which is very very hard to do. Um, now I think the best team that has its best chance probably against Boston would be Denver. So as a Boston fan, I don't want to see Denver to be honest.
Hmm.
I would love to see Oklahoma City Boston. That'd be fun because I
Hmm.
kind of I'd be cheering for the Celtics, but I wouldn't be
Hmm.
terrible if Oklahoma City won. But I definitely be cheering for Boston. But if I had to pick a day, Boston and Denver would be my pick.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I would tell you that Oklahoma is going to be good for a long time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
They will
so
be good for some reason.
yeah,
I agree.
they've got more draft choices than the law allows, I
Uh,
think.
yeah, I mean
But
they have and
I
cred. That's
agree.
why they're how good this past. I thought they were another year or two. They have really done well. And
Yeah.
the coach was just their D development coach. That's all he was. He wasn't some hot shot guy who's coached 20 years. Sometimes he was just the development coach for the
But those
D League.
those are the guys. Those are the guys that kind of make it. Ask Spoelstra down there in Miami. Those are the
Yeah,
guys that just that kind of make it. Um, I think teams fall into the category sometimes of stargazing, and that's how a
Yeah.
Doc Rivers gets to jump in
Yeah.
the driver's seat in Milwaukee. To be honest with you, I'm not a fan of Doc Rivers. I don't think he's all that good
Yeah.
as a coach. Yeah, he's done some things in Boston, but some of the other stops he's been in, he really
Yeah.
hasn't achieved.
It just seems like
And
he underachieved a lot, and
yes, I agree with you.
and
And
he
so
just I don't get how he continues, and I don't know. I mean, they were like 30-10 or something under Griffin, and then the man it's just a very bizarre. And then the guy they fired last year, he won the title. What 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
exactly.
Jeez.
So I think I don't think you have to stargaze. I think you have to just get a solid guy who can coach some X's and O's and command some respect from the ball players. And I think you can have a winning situation. Even if you take a look at our home team, the Mavericks, I've got some real questions about Jason Kidd's coaching ability.
Yeah.
And he's a homegrown kind of guy here. I mean, everybody loves him
Yeah.
here in Dallas because
Yeah.
because of when he played here in Dallas. But that
Yeah.
doesn't make him a great coach. And I just
Yeah.
think you get a guy who can develop some players, get some X's and O's down, and do a good job. And I think you can go a long way with that, especially a young team,
Yeah.
that
Because I mean,
that can fall in line behind what he's trying to teach them.
yeah, kid. I mean, he had that good first year, and he did raise up, but he's kind of regressed. And so I don't know. Boston. I mean, they'll make the playoffs, but I don't have a
Yeah,
lot of confidence in them.
they'll make the
Maybe,
playoffs. They'll make a little bit of a run. I think they can get past the
maybe
first
win one
round.
series, maybe. But
Yeah, I would say they can probably get past the first round, which will be good. But hopefully, a good offseason will put them back in contention, maybe in this top five as we move ahead next year. But what do you
yeah.
think, Kellen? Is there a surprise team that's not on the list that you think might kind of eke up into the top five here as we come to the last couple of weeks of the season?
Yeah, I think, and they are already in your top five. So I will go back to that, but I do think the Los Angeles Clippers will definitely make a run. I think by the end of the season, they could be in my top five pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see them really making a run. I don't currently have them in there, but I think they could.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I see him there. I see him there now. I like their big three. I really do.
Mhm.
I think Kawhi Leonard is a hell of a ball player, and he's not playing as well as he has in the past, but he is still one of the most solid two-way players in the league, and that really makes a big difference there for them. So I agree with you. I can certainly see the Clippers sneaking in there. What
And I
about you? Oh, good, Kellen.
Oh, I was just going to add, I think they have a bench as well.
Uh,
So
yeah.
when it seems to me when they play, even when their big three or any of their starters are taking a break, their bench doesn't lose a step. It seems
Uh-huh.
like that to me anyway.
Uh-huh. And that's why I think they're pretty solid. They've had a little they finally put it together. I think early in the season they really kind of struggled a little bit, but they've put it together. They really have. Who do you see as a surprise? Maybe some team coming into the top five here in the power rankings sooner. What are you seeing?
Well, I was going to say the Clippers, but I'll try to. Um, I mean, I guess if I mean if and I just don't know how good Embiid will be when he gets back, but if he can come back and he can get like he was, I mean, he might be able to win maybe a series or two with Philly because they were really good when he before, but it's just harder. I don't have faith to do that, but other than that, I mean, there's like you mentioned, Spoelstra. They're always the team that sort of surprises when no one thinks they're that great. All of a sudden, they're in the East Finals. So I could see
Yeah.
Miami. Um, I do find just the flip that the teams that are down that we're not even talking about that we've been dealing with for years. It's just crazy to see the Warriors and the Lakers. They are just not playing very well. But the Lakers did sneak in last year and got to the West Finals. So who knows?
And they'll
Who knows
sneak
what
in
can
this
happen?
year too. Golden State will sneak in this year, but both of those teams have a problem, and I should say have problems, not a problem.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
problems. Uh,
Right.
Golden State, they're they're benching one of the Splash Brothers now to try to see if they can make a change here, which is unheard of. You would never have thought that Klay Thompson would be a bench sitter for
Yeah,
some.
he's really struggled this year.
Yeah, but he's struggling. I mean, ever since that injury, he really hasn't come back with his Achilles. He's never really come back to any form of the olden days. And then the Lakers have a problem. Well, they actually have two problems. One is LeBron James, and the other is Street Clothes Davis.
Yeah, that guy
Street
is
Clothes Davis.
so much, man.
Those
Crazy.
guys have more, day to day next to their name than anybody else in the league. But they take the days off here and there for whatever reason. Well, one reason is because LeBron James is just on the old side of the iceberg. Not that it's showing. It's
No,
it's
he
not
is
really,
amazing. His longevity is pretty
his
big.
longevity is amazing. It's not that it's showing too much, but I because he can come up and have a game like he just had the other night.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but every once in a while he just needs his rest. And
yeah.
Anthony Street Clothes Davis, you never know when he's in the lineup or out of the lineup. I think that's a great nickname for him. I don't know who called him. I think it was Charles Barkley called him Street Clothes Davis.
Yeah.
Good old Sir Charles.
He's in his street clothes more than he's in his uniform. But
Yeah, I like Charles. He said these guys can't. He said these guys can't get on the private planes and play, 3 or 4 times a week, and they just can't do that when people are working in, a steel mill every day. They gotta get up and go to work every day, and look what they're dealing with. Come on, that's funny.
Yeah, Charles.
Well, if the Lakers do happen to sneak into the playoffs, hopefully they'll meet the Nuggets, and the Nuggets can pull out the broom again like they did last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they
good.
did.
But I will tell you a team that might make a little bit of noise. That would be our Dallas Mavericks. They might make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, they've got some potential. I mean,
Yeah, they do. After the trade deadline, I think that they probably got better than any team in the NBA. But they got to pull it all together. They've got some street clothes issues too. Kyrie Irving's a little on the fragile side, I think. But
he's hurt a lot.
Yeah. But he'll gut it out in the playoffs just like they all do. The NBA regular season is just pickup basketball for them. When it comes down to the playoffs, they usually suffer through those little minor injuries and hit the court, running.
Yeah.
And I think the Mavericks this year have the ability to make a little bit of a run, not a big run, but a little bit of a run.
When you got Luka, one maybe first round, but it's hard to get past that.
Yeah. When you got Luka and Kyrie handling the ball, playing, it's a very difficult team to defend.
Yeah.
So.
And you can't help it.
I'm just going to say a team in the East. I mean, you don't think about them, but the Knicks are pretty good this year. They're pretty good.
They are.
They're and with the East not being, Embiid's not going to be. They might. That's a team that might be able to win a few series and do something because the fans have just been so. It's been a disaster for so long. But yeah, that's a pretty good team. And Brunson he's really. I mean, he was elite in college, and that guy. He just, unfortunately, he was a shorter version of Luka. When Luka didn't play, he was amazing. But when Luka played, he was not even close because they're so similar type guys. So, that was a pretty smart move. And then Dallas, he just wanted too much. And then his dad's an assistant. Well, I don't know if he still is, but he was when he went there. So that was probably cool for him too.
Cool. Well, I think we've kind of come to the end of the show here, but as usual, I'm going to give everybody a shot to give a shout out or to give a little mention about something that's going on in the sports world that they feel is important enough for everybody to know. So why don't we start with Mr. Sooner Thrawn? Sooner, what you got?
Well, I got to throw him in. I know it's going to be tough for us, but it's going to be a very cool, emotional game Saturday night. Like Kelvin Sampson and the Quantas White and Hollis Price are our assistant coaches coming back to Norman, where they had some really good teams in a Final Four run together. That'll be fun to see. And I gotta hope my Sooners can beat your Cougs. I don't have a lot of faith, but you never know. It's the Big 12. The Big 12, there's crazy things happen. So it'll be a pretty neat scene there for Sampson and White and Hot Price for Sooner fans.
Awesome. Well, why don't you go ahead, Mr. Kulik, give us your final shot.
Yeah, so I've got two. First of all, Iowa's Caitlin Clark declares for the NWNBA draft. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see her for her senior season.
Yeah.
And as a Nebraska Cornhusker fan stuck in the same conference with her, I'm okay with that. I'll miss the news about her, but I'm okay with that. And staying on in the Big Ten, the Nebraska Cornhuskers men's basketball team, they are doing well. They don't hit 20 wins in a season very often, but they have. They dominate at home, but as we all know, the NCAA tournament is not going to be in Lincoln. So I'm hoping for at least their first tournament victory ever. That would be nice because I think they'll make it. I think potentially a 9 or 10 seed. But yeah, so that's my shout outs.
I mean, they finally Hoiberg was horrible the first 3 years, but they let him. The buyout basically is one reason they gave him another year, and it's paid off. He's probably going to make the tournament. So
I love some Casey Tominaga too.
Yes, I was going to say that guy can bring some energy. He can shoot. He can bring some energy to a game.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Whenever he riles the team up and the crowd up, I don't care if we're down by 10. I instantly get some confidence in that.
Yes. Awesome. Well, you stole a little bit of my thunder regarding Ms. Caitlin Clark. I was going to mention the fact that her final home game is coming up, and the tickets for that game are up to like $5,000. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. For her final home game, that's what they're scalping tickets for. Is like $5,000.
Well, she's a legend. I mean, she grew up in Des Moines.
She is. And now I got to tell you though, I feel bad for women's college basketball once she leaves, because the attendance is just going to drop. Nobody's going to care or pay attention, to go back into obscurity again. But she's wild. I mean, she just broke the scoring record not too long ago. Amazing. Actually, the real scoring record Wednesday night. And I've watched a couple of her games. She can flat out play. Now she's going to take a cut in pay going to the WNBA,
and that's kind of why I was surprised.
Yeah, me too. I really was.
Because she got the extra year because of the COVID deal. That's why she was a freshman.
Yeah, but
she played 4 years. But,
but if I think she made $2 million this year. For playing women's basketball. And she'll probably, like I said, go to the WNBA and probably won't make that much. But what will happen is the attendance in the WNBA will go up because she is the one thing I don't think they have, and they don't do a good job of, is that they don't have any real stars that they market in the WNBA. They really don't. They really need to. They need to do what Stern did to the NBA, which is develop stars and quit talking about the quality of the game. Let's just develop stars and storylines and get people excited that way. But Caitlin Clark has the ability to maybe bring some of that to the game.
And then the LSU girl, I think, will probably be her rookie in the same year.
So Reese Davis. Yeah,
they're both very marketable, so they'll be in the same draft. I don't know, but they definitely won't hurt. They'll help it some. But I guess Clark, it seems like 2021, 21, 22, 23. 2021, 21, 22, 22. How come this is not her fourth year? She was not a freshman until fall of 20, so this is the fourth season.
Well, everybody these days gets an extra COVID year. They get an extra.
Well, she wasn't there. She was. Did that what they? I guess they did it. That's right, they did. It wasn't because the COVID stopped the turning. And the next year was a free year too. So you're right.
Everybody gets a free year.
That's almost over. The COVID year this is the last year.
You get another year. You get another year.
We all get another year.
Exactly. Oh man.
And they just transferred, and you're like, didn't they just transfer? But that was a grad coming.
Yeah, exactly.
He's on his seventh year. Like the quarterback.
And the portal just drive me nuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that
guy. But anyway, we are the Sports Page Pundits. Another show is in the book. We will see you again next
Eat.
week. Have a good one, folks.
Have a good one, guys.
Take care. Be smart.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you, man.